dream that she saw when sleeping way back on the boat before. She manages to get back to her house, and what we soon come to realize is that we're actually back at the beginning of events chronologically, a bit before the 8:30 meeting at the harbor. She goes to the window of her house, seeing retrieve a boat from the kiddie pool. Now we see the aftermath. Jess actually getting furious at her son and seeing our Jess, causing him to spill the paint, infuriating her again, and slapping Tommy in anger for the simple accident. And wow, turns out Jess is a stone cold bitch and pretty terrible mother to her special needs son. Seems that she has only now come to realize just how bad she was, and now deeply regrets her behavior after her trippy voyage. She rings the doorbell and stomps off, connecting to the same moment from the opening. Now seeing our Jess retrieving a hammer from a shed, surprising her other self as she's putting on makeup and killing her other self. Little Tommy witnesses the whole thing, which must be equally confusing and distressing. Our Jess tries to comfort him, saying it's just a bad dream. Another brief segment we saw back at the beginning, but without all the context from before, this changes everything we saw. This also informs us that the Jess we followed at the very beginning of the movie was also killed by another Jess at this stage of her very long loop. Putting her doppelganger self in a clothes bag in the trunk, she promises a still freaking out Tommy things will be different now, assuring him she won't ever lose her temper at him again, and that the woman who did those things isn't really his mom, something she's used consistently to defend her behavior throughout. She hits a bird, which turns out to be a seagull, and tells Tommy that they'll bury it, taking it from the road and tossing it on the beach. And just as with her locket and the mini Sallies, there's a pile of dead seagulls right where she tosses it, indicating once again that despite her thinking she's changed things, this is all still part of her loop. She runs back to her car in a hurry, to Tommy screaming insanely. She yells for him to stop, getting distracted by his tantrum and crashing right into his semi, flipping the car a whole bunch of times. In the aftermath, we find our Jess standing blankly near the wreck, which not only exposed the Jess she killed, but resulted in the death of her son. The same bloody pattern on her face seen as with bad Jess prior when she was unmasked. Also interestingly, one of the Drumline Kids logos we see on his drum is the same from the ship's band setup on the Aeolus. And the random guy approaches her asking if she's alright. When asking who he is, he only replies a driver, telling her there's no point in trying to save the boy, and that there's nothing she can do to bring him back. He offers to give her a ride, and she, still unwilling to give up despite the total inescapable futility of her situation, asks to be taken to the harbor, connecting the events from her house to when she showed up in a daze there at the beginning. And now I understand why, since she did sort of kill her son, but still refuses to accept this reality. As we know with the doomed Aeolus, she is stuck in her situation, and will be reliving the same pointless fight for eternity, rolling up the rock only for it to fall back down and start all over again. And the driver here is actually a stand-in for the mythical ferryman who ushers souls to the afterlife. And when he takes her to the harbor, he says he's leaving the meter running, and she promises to be right back, which we know is never going to happen. And in this sense, she is effectively cheating death, just as her ancient counterpart did, her punishment being living this time loop infinitely, as she joins the triangle and the whole twisted thing starts from scratch all over again. It's by refusing to accept the fact that her son is dead and that she can't do anything about it that she's doomed to be punished forever. Oh well, that's kind of a bummer. Okay, now that we've decoded Jess's extremely convoluted journey, let's look at some other major questions that I still had. One that actually still confused me after watching the movie again is, when does Jess reset in the loop? Because technically the Jess at the beginning has already lived through the whole movie already, yet only seems to have flutters of deja vu and familiarity. Something must cause her to more or less lose her memories, and the moment that I've pegged is when first boarding the triangle, she takes a long nap, and here has the dream of being on the beach. Again, technically this has already happened, yet Jess suddenly only remembers it as a dream, as it's from this point that she seems unaware of what is going on with the doubles and the loops and everything, and since she doesn't remember everything, she's forced to learn the hard way, step by step, all over again to uncover what's going on. Which brings us to what the deal is with the Aeolus and the whole Bermuda Triangle aspect of the story. If you don't know, the Bermuda Triangle is an area where over the years many aircrafts and ships have gone mysteriously missing, and now has become regarded as a kind of cursed area. Part of the Triangle area does include Florida, where our group set sail from, so they definitely could have traveled into this paranormal zone, and it is considered the vessels that were lost. So it's like the when it originally set sail, angle and became lost in time. And due to being